Let's go. Welcome back to another episode of 501 Tacos. I'm your host, DJ Taco. Excuse me, Taco Le Ortiz. History's spiciest podcaster and the best voice in podcasting, aka Mr. Moonlight, is a phone sex operator. I bet you guys didn't know that when you listen to the podcast late night. People getting their feelings. With my co-host, Major Butler, Damian Butler. Major, what you got for the folks on this fine Sunday before I jump into some shout outs and some questions?
I guess as they say, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. What's happening, party people? It's good to be here. Glad to be here. Glad to be a part of it all.
Yeah, praise be. We got another Pistons versus Knicks game today, 1 p.m. My
Prayers
Pistons,
have been answered.
won't he do it? Look at God. So yeah, my Pistons down 1-2. Even though I have relocated out, I'm still a diehard Pistons fan. Love that. We're gonna jump into that a little later. Got a couple of quick shout outs first. Shout out to my big cousin Randy for becoming a first time homeowner.
That's what's up.
Really happy. I know he's been working on that for a couple years, so shout out to him for getting that. My man's is in the bathrobe today, y'all. Y'all have been
Listen, y'all
graced.
been caught in the middle of we got a lot going on. You know what I'm saying? In between, just
You look,
trying to make it happen. You know what I'm saying?
looking like Rev Al Sharpton right now, man. He's about to drop some wisdom on y'all in the bathrobe like Rev Run. He's the Reverend Butler today. That's your new name, Reverend Butler on this fine Sunday.
I'll take it.
Um, so shout out my cousin Randy. Shout out Reverend Butler. And then shout out to my friend Damo, her firstborn son JC, and the family basketball team for winning the FAST. That's FAAST divisional title during the Spring Classic yesterday.
That's what's up.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. Just for some of you who might not have heard in previous episodes, JC is actually one of the highest touted prospects right now for the class of 2034. I mean, just that's how, yeah, class of 2034, 9 years from now. If we make it, if we make it through this, we're not gonna talk about that. We talking about some class of 2034 prospects, young stars up and coming. Love to see it. And then lacrosse and some class of right now with Kay Cunningham and the props he's been getting. So Major, I'm gonna jump in and I made a couple of notes. You know me. I know very little about lacrosse besides it's the acronym for the same airport in my hometown. And it's what the doctors prescribed Regina George for her anger management. Mean Girls, folks. Mean Girls. Yeah. So
Okay.
look, born in LA, grew up in Detroit, relocated to Illinois, Chicagoland. In Detroit, you were told hoop, the plant, rap, so dope. Wasn't for me. Not to say hoop wasn't, but I have other dreams. So I don't know
Yeah,
that
that's
much
that's
about
typical.
lacrosse. You've been coaching lacrosse for a few years, quite some time, as well as having the highest rated lacrosse player, female lacrosse player in the U.S. The last 4 years prior to this year, right?
Yeah.
Was
Well,
that
she was the USA Today Player of the Year last year, and she was the two-time Detroit Free Press Player of the Year. It was a good
okay?
time.
Yeah,
It was a good
yeah. So
time.
yeah. So that I mean that's quite an achievement in its own right. The fact that you coached her also speaks to your credentials. So talk to me about this lacrosse season, this sport. Your team.
Mm.
Tell the people a little bit about it. Maybe we can um, open some people up to different avenues and range and things like that, especially young women who might be listening.
No doubt. I mean, lacrosse is the fastest growing youth sport in America, which is
Okay.
great to see. We call it the fastest game on 2 feet. Let's see. Give you a quick history lesson of it. It is a North American sport. It was discovered and created by our native folks.
I
We
was going to
call it
say
the
Regina
creators
George.
game. Say again.
I was going to say Regina George and the Mean Girls.
Uh, I don't
Uh,
know anything about that. I don't know who those people are.
He's showing his
I
age.
don't mess with the. I know what the meme. I know the show, but I don't know anything. I don't mess with them people.
You better ask
They ain't gonna
Neve
get
and
me.
Ray and Kennedy, man. They'll get you together.
Yeah, I don't mess with them type. But so it's the creator's game. It was given by the creator to the people, and they used it to fight wars. And we play on 100-yard field. Back in the day, they played and the goal was a mile away. You had to run and get the ball and get a wooden stick and a wooden ball, and that's how they played the game. And it evolved, and it was, I don't want to say co-opted, but it was merged, and
That's a better word than I had.
it became what the game is today. A lot of people look at it as an elitist sport. It very well can be that environment, but that's if you allow it to be. And I'm coming into the space as you know, I'm not an athlete, but I had to be athletic. I was 25 years in the Army. We're professional athletes. Our first formation today is PT. So I can play sports. I'm not one of those people that sat this weekend looking at the NFL draft waiting for their name to be called. I was never in that position. But lacrosse is a place where that level of athleticism is displayed on a regular basis. I mean, you talked about Melina and her accomplishments. The
Lena's the
game
player
is
we were mentioning that was one of the highest ranking of the highest, U.S.
Yeah.
Today player.
So she was definitely a baller. She was she was all that. She deserved everything she got. But the game is so accessible. You just have to want to go and get into it. We get you some sticks. There are programs, and I work with Detroit United. I got to shout them out as much as I can for them with the help they have to grow the game in this area for boys and girls, and they've spawned some different ideas. I also play box lacrosse, which is indoor lacrosse, and in an adult league. So the game is growing. It's a youth game. It's an adult game. It's wide open, and it's just a. I'm not a football player. I'm not tall enough to be a basketball player, but I can go ahead and participate and have a good game on a regular basis in lacrosse. I field lacrosse, which I haven't played in years. I was a long stick midi, so I got in. I could, defense is what I like to play. But with my ability to move, and I was fast at one time. I was faster than most people on the field at one time, so I could get in and mix it up. And with a 6-foot pole on the offensive side, I can make some things happen. Most recently, we go into box. Box is a little bit more physical, but it's I don't know. I guess it's just more accessible, and I've been able to play that. But I coach. I've coached boys. I won a championship with boys in the Chicago area. Uh,
That time.
we won our division championship last year. We're on the road to doing that again this year. So the game is there. I like to teach the game. We run camps, do clinics. And that's how I started coaching, doing lacrosse clinics, because I was doing lacrosse clinics to expose young black kids to the game. I mean, I was doing that in Maryland, and the state sport is lacrosse in Maryland, if that's a thing. Like the state
Wow.
flower, the state bird, the state law, all that. So lacrosse is a thing in Maryland
Wow.
because of
I,
the elitist, thing they have going on. It's most people don't look at it, but DC, well, the DMV is a basketball town. So basketball first, football second, and then whatever else you do. Track, we got some fast people out there, but
Soccer, I think,
lacrosse
is big out
is
there too.
going. And I found out recently that all schools in Prince George's County public schools, where I graduated high school, were mandated to have lacrosse programs. My alma mater, Duval High School, is ripping it up right now. They're, following their Instagram page. They're having a season of seasons. So, I've created this goal in my head to take my team to PG County and see what we can do. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make that happen, but we're gonna see what we can do. Growing the
Uh,
game is huge. I mean, it's the skill of baseball and soccer, the speed of basketball. Uh, you can get the finesse of basketball in there. You get the skill. the stick skills develop. I mean, it's an awesome game, and I just enjoy being a part of it. It's my happy place in the world when things are going bad, or I'm having a rough day, a long day, and I know I get to play lacrosse or get to be on a lacrosse field sometime during that day. That's the highlight of the day. So it's an awesome game, awesome opportunity, and I'm glad that I get the opportunities to grow it. So I got the summer camp, in July. I have a community day in Ann Arbor in June. I'm coaching the season, and I mean we're traveling to Lansing next week to play. So it's lacrosse is for me. It's all of that. It's a joy to be a part of, and more people should be a part of it. Let me know if you want to get involved. I got you.
Appreciate it. I didn't want to interrupt. You were saying a lot of good things. I heard a lot of Black Boy Joy there, speaking about your happy place. Um, I can be cynical and say happiness is not a real thing at times, but
Oh,
it
it's
depends.
definitely temporary.
Oh, it is. I mean, everything's pretty much temporary, but I mean, usually my happy place is rolling, doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I said, for me, basketball wasn't, the avenue for me. I was never the best player in the world, and but I played
Right.
every day because I love playing. So if I'm on the blacktop at Stipple Park in Brightwell, back in those days. I might not, I might have some days I lose more than I win, and that's, 5-on-5, 3-on-3, 1-on-1, whatever. But I played because it was something I loved to do. I could play from 5 in the morning to 6 at night. I did that once with a broken wrist my junior year in high school. So, yeah, trust me, I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm not an athlete. I'm very athletically gifted and built, but that was something I did. Once I got into Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, I realized, and this is something my therapist and my good buddy, one of my best friends in the world, Samson, taught me. Things you can do till you're exhausted are the things that bring you joy and make you happy. And he said that, and like a week later, I was rolling on the mat with some guys, and I'm laid out, and they're like, Taco is all lit up. He is like having the time of his life, and I'm just on the back, just all smiles because I was wiped out. I was too tired to drive 30 minutes back home, but I did so good. So, I wouldn't say downplay yourself. You're doing a lot of great things. I have recently been assistant coaching a Smash esports team, very up until very recently, where esports is now being recognized by some collegiate conferences. So,
That's what's up.
I would love to get involved in lacrosse as well. I'm hoping we can meet up at Pete's House in Ann Arbor soon. But yeah, I mean, I love to hear things like that. Definitely from your high school days to now, and hearing about you coach Taco is all lit up. He is like having the time of his life, and I'm just on the back, just all smiles because I was wiped out. I was too tired to drive 30 minutes back home, but I did so good. So I wouldn't say downplay yourself. You're doing a lot of great things. I have recently been assistant coaching a Smash esports team, very up until very recently, where esports is now being recognized by some collegiate conferences. So,
That's what's up.
I would love to get involved in lacrosse as well. I'm hoping we can meet up at Pete's House in Ann Arbor soon. But yeah, I mean, I love to hear things like that. Definitely from your high school days to now, and hearing about you coaching these young women. You have Melina, who was the U.S. Today and Detroit Free Press Player of the Year. Things like that. She's going on to graduate. But talk to me about this season. I think you mentioned that it was expectations versus reality, and I think a phrase I hear a lot working in corporate America is expectation management.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna, pardon my phrasing, Khaleesi, but I'm gonna just say, what the fuck does that mean, Kobe Bryant? Uh, my Kanye voice.
Right.
So, like, expectations versus reality. What does that look like for you?
Well, you got to be the same beast and a different animal. You know what I'm saying? So the expectation management is when for 4 years we had, we watched and developed Melina's leadership skills. Her now she had all kind of coaches. She is the quintessential player that's going to the next level. Like her parents had her in training and agility training and weight training and this training and that. There were times that she would, miss game things here because she had to go to her club in Maryland. And it's very different in lacrosse. Like the club teams carry more weight than your high school team. It's like club is AAU for lacrosse. There's no AAU circuit, but so over those 4 years, we had a dominant player. And the piece where I come in as a coach for her, because the lacrosse skills, we worked on a few things, but we didn't train together like that. She spent more time. She got most of her exposure from the club. I'll just say that, not from Salem High School.
Can I
But
can I can I poke in just for a second? I forgot one thing. You mentioned the NFL. I just want to poke this in really quickly. Brian Simmons, my guy, who I just recently met, had a great time with him at a bar. Had a player from my alma mater, Western Michigan, who was a candidate for the draft. So I have to find out the results of that. I didn't pay attention to the draft. And then my alma mater actually just won their first Frozen Four championship. So
that's
that
what's
was
up.
not met Brian yet. So he's actually a NFL, actually just a agent for athletes. Help them. But I think he focuses mostly on the NFL. And that just reminded me when you were speaking about Melina. So, didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
Just
you're
forgot.
good. You're good. Shout out to them. I mean, we highlight athletics. Professional sports is like the end all be all. It's good, but it's not. There's so many other things to go and be professional in. And that, this talking, going back to the development that Melina had going to getting to where she is. She's now playing at, Syracuse University.
Okay.
Syracuse University, not University of Syracuse. Syracuse University. She's one of the hot freshmen on that team, and they're going through a rebuilding phase, and she's a major piece of that rebuild. So all of those things coming
Shout out to
together,
her.
she had opportunities to go elsewhere to play. This is something she said in her farewell speech at our banquet last year. We created a space where it was more important for her to be here than to be in those top programs. And that's the piece, the pride I take in being her coach, that she wanted to stay with us, not go somewhere else. And something to look back like, she probably should have, but she did the right thing because she still got the accolades. You know what I'm saying? She still got player of the year playing at a high school that's not a lacrosse powerhouse in any means, but we created a space that people want to be a part of. This year's team, we don't have that player. And last year, my brother came into town during the season, and I took him to a game and said, check it out. I've always talked about what Melina had going in her skills and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, I'm not going to tell you her number. I'm just going to you'll pick her out. He's like, oh, I already know. I can see by her body language, the way she is. I know who it is. And then he watched the play and was like, yeah, it's a difference. That's a mentality that doesn't exist everywhere. And that mentality doesn't exist in our team this year. So this year's team is very different, and they have the desire to win, but they don't have all of the stuff that, they're talented, but it's just that there's a certain thing. I said to him yesterday in practice, I said, last year we had a lacrosse player. This year we have swimmers that play lacrosse. We have cheerleaders that play lacrosse. We have, we have, there's a difference in the game, but the level of understanding, and we're dealing with a lot of confidence issues this year. Our record is very different than last year. This time last year, we were 7-3. No, we were 7-2. We are 3-7 this year.
So it's reverse, basically.
It's a
Eh,
reverse. And
if you don't mind, I want to just kind of hop in here because you said a couple of really uh, insightful things. My little cousin Logan, and I'm gonna shout out him and Smitty and Pam Sword, my career coach, for different reasons. Logan plays soccer. Um, his mother has let me know that she doesn't know if he's gonna continue with it, but it was what he's been doing for the last 2 years. Um, he said while I was moving out of Detroit a couple years ago that they lost the game when they were up two with I think 20 minutes to go, 10 or 20 minutes to go in the game, and they lost by 2. And he said the other team realized there was still a game going on, and they basically they got complacent. That was literally what an 8-year-old's words were. They got complacent, and the other team still played because they realized there's still a game going on.
Yeah.
That is an 8-year-old's, mindset. I showed him a record. A colleague of mine had said in a video game, said, I can beat that immediately. I was like, start cooking. So that's why the phrase for the podcast is kitchen's always open, because we're always cooking. I'm shouting out Smitty and Pam Swore for helping me. I never really had a confidence issue. I've made myself small to make other people comfortable, which I regret deeply. But I've never had a confidence issue, because my thing is always like, even if I fall, if I fail, I'm going to get back up. I'm going to get it next time. One of the most consistent compliments or comments on my talents is that once I see it once, or I hear it once, or I do it once, I get it. So I'm shutting out Smitty and Pam because they basically help me see the leader in myself, and that's what I try to model myself as, because people come to me for advice, all age groups and things like that. And I go to leaders like that to develop me. I come to leaders like you to develop me. So again, I'm mostly proud. No, I'm going to say I'm proud of this. I don't always like the attention gets me, but my number one Clifton strength is command, which is one of the rarest. It's basically just, as my career coach Pam puts it, I just ooze charisma. It gets me more attention than I really care for. One of my financial team told me that I have main character energy, which I appreciate, but some days I just want to put my head down and just go through life with, mind my own business. But from what I'm hearing about Melina is that she had those intangibles. I have players on my, or had players on my esports team that had intangibles like charisma or confidence, or how they delegate tasks. They know, who goes in to, what matchup and things like that. I'm hearing that Melina had intangibles, and with you saying this is a growing sport, you got swimmers coming in who might not be translating their natural talents to what they can do in a lacrosse field. You have cheerleaders coming in into a growing sport and aren't translating their natural skills. And that's always what I try to just emphasize. And I'm going to, pull it back, give it back to you. I know we got another 20 minutes, but I always try to emphasize, have transferable skills, know your skills, know yourself, and know your weaknesses too, if you want to look at it like that. Because my thing is, I'm also, competition is my number 3, Clifton. So I'm always competing against myself. If I see something that I feel like I'm lacking, I try to work on that to enhance my strength. So that's how I try to develop my, my players, my team, anybody I give advice to, any type of wisdom. But you're mentioning, confidence issues and the record being upside down. A lot of, I'm going to end off on this. A lot of this current generation that are, basically the COVID generation, their identities are kind of crafted through their fandoms or social media, things like that. So they don't really have like that sense of self, outside of a blue check or 15K followers on social media, something like that. They hit a rough spot and then they completely fold because their identity has just been snatched from them. So can you speak a little bit about that before we transition to someone who's been described as a quiet alpha, Kate Cunningham, and what the Pistons are doing? I got to make sure we segue into
We definitely have this generation is their confidence is a thing. Anxiety is a huge thing, and
ego.
I have I don't even think it's not at the level of ego yet, because you have to get over the hump of anxiousness and ego is a thing. Once you know yourself, you believe in yourself, and you believe you can be overconfident, but you have to be confident first. You got to be confident before you can be overconfident. And one of the things that is missing in this I won't say generation, because I don't want to cover everybody, but a lot of players on my team are nervous. I don't want to make a mistake. Why don't you want to make a mistake? Because someone's going to be mad at me. Who? Have I ever been mad at you? Have I ever said to you, what Friday night, I will pull you out of a game if you're not doing what I ask you to do. If I tell you to do something in the game and you ignore me, you're coming out, because you're not working for the team. Because my job here is to make sure everybody is on the same page. And one of the things that I did recently is I use the 16personalities.com website, which kind of helps you understand who you are. It breaks, it gives you, it's a personality test that's based on the
MBTI.
Myers-Briggs research. So, you talk about Clifton Strengths and all that kind of stuff. Most people don't know that stuff.
I
Most
know.
people don't know what Clifton Strengths are, Gallup Strengths, whatever it is. It's changed. Clifton, developed it. Gallup bought it, and then something happened where Clifton got it back. So it's not
Yeah,
Gallup. But
I'm actually working to become a certified Clifton strength coach, and I want to throw this in there. I'm starting my MBA in a couple weeks.
that's what's
And
up.
so, yeah, thank you. Part of my focus or my concentration would literally be developing people by applying to your strengths. Um, so that's something I'm pretty excited about. MBTI is something I'm familiar with, but others might not be. So, can you explain a little bit more how you're using that?
So, I mean, Myers-Briggs is a mother-daughter team that's going through psychology. It's tied into Jungian principles, but it's all psychology. It's an area of psychology that talks about introvert extrovert energy, judging, non-judging. So
INTJ.
if they can figure out who they are, and so I'm one question away from I versus E. I'm a EN, or I'm an IN or EN, either way. The T and the, I mean, it all switches up. So it depends on how you feel at the moment. So, but most of these players have never done it. And they're in high school, so they haven't had psychology, and they're basing their life off of what their parents tell them and what they're doing or what their friends are doing. And social media is a huge part of that. So the amount of followers they get, and it's there are a lot of things that go in. So it's a constant talk to remind them, just do the work. You're going to get better if you do the work. We go over what I expect you to do on the field. We practice it, and then we get in the game and we do it. If you have questions, ask the questions. Everybody wants to be perfect. And so they don't ask, like, what I said a lot. What'd you hear me say? And every period of timeout, I walk on the field and I go and I give everybody a high five. I call it touching up. I said, y'all better touch it up. Y'all better touch me up. And it's a funny thing, me being around a bunch of girls. Oh, listen, if I put my hand up and you don't touch it, I'm coming. I'm coming to touch you. And I usually tap them on the
Lost.
head, or the ones I can, I'll give them a little shove on the shoulder, be like, look, don't leave me hanging out here. Let's go, let's work, let's work. Stay connected, stay focused. What are we working on? What is your goal for this game? Give me the two things you're going to work on. Is it ground balls and cause a turnover? Ground ball, stay in front of my players. Take better shots. Be focused on those and create those spaces so that we can build confidence. Confidence comes from repetition. Confidence comes from repetition. I say that to the players all the time. What are we doing this for? Why do I keep repeating myself? Why do you do these drills over and over again? Because confidence comes from repetition. When we do it right over and over again, we can't get it wrong.
Right.
We're amateurs. We're still amateurs. We're still developing. But the difference between a professional and an amateur is an amateur does it till they get it right. A professional does it till they can't get it wrong.
Yeah.
So we're continuing to
Habits.
work. We
Habits
can
are what make you successful
we are what
ultimately.
we repeatedly do.
Yeah.
I harp on the championship thing, and I've been thinking it's like maybe I'm doing too much with the championship, but I'm not going to stop, because if I put that away, I'll let you always be mediocre. I need you to push beyond yourself. Our record is going to be different this year. It's not going to look like last year, 15-3-1. And that one is another story. You can look it up. Check out the podcast, the LAX Box podcast.
We'll be backlinked. I got a few
I
backlinks.
appreciate you.
I'm gonna put
Appreciate
in
you.
it.
Particular episode is semi-regional disappointments, but well, that's again another story. We
Uh,
still have an
I,
opportunity to win our division,
yeah.
to be back-to-back champions with a three
Seven.
wins and more losses. But if we go through and win the games we're supposed to win, build the confidence up early, get in the field and show that and do that thing the way we're supposed to do it, we're going to be everything we need to be, and our confidence will grow. Confidence comes from repetition. So
Yeah.
that's where we are this season. And the players I have are great. They're awesome players, but we were overconfident going into the season. So
Reality
we're,
check.
we're dealing with reality. and the
Yeah.
expectation is that we're going to get over the hump.
Yeah,
So
let me butt in here, Major, because we're gonna have to transition. We got about another 15 minutes. I know you have a appointment. A couple key things you mentioned about the social media generation and things like that.